guys, Rob here from D&D Toy Reviews. It's been a while since my last review. I apologize for that, but things are back on track and we're ready to go for some more. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be looking at the Sentinel Into the Spider-Verse, Peter B. Parker, Spider-Man. So let's get into it with accessories. Alright, so we have got an absolute plethora of accessories for this figure. So let's start off with the alternate torso. He comes with the chubby Peter B. Parker stomach and hips. And we also get the leaner, more muscular Peter Parker from the intro. Not the intro, but the beginning of the movie where Miles meets Spider-Man. To swap it, it's very easy. We just pop off the top, pop off the torso, pop off the legs, which can be a little scary to do, but the plastic seems pretty tough and able to hold on to it. We need to set aside that, set aside the torso. We keep this ball bar tripod thing, I guess. We stick it into these hip covering, which is made of a sort of rigid, but also sort of pliable at the same time plastic. We just pop one leg on and that'll hold that in place. Pop the other leg on. Pop on the stomach. Pop on Spidey's chest, and it's good to go. And honestly, it's not even that chubby. It's still pretty thin, so not a huge difference there, but options are always nice. In the package, he comes with these sort of relaxed, fingers straight hands. And one criticism that I've heard about this figure is the hands are very big compared to the rest of the body. And yeah, I can see that. They are a little on the huge side, even given the art style of the movie. But they're not terrible. I mean, once you get them put into poses and swap out the hands for some other stuff, it doesn't look too terrible. Speaking of hands, we get some ungloved typing hands, I suppose they are. We get these fisted / web holding hands. There's a hole in the middle of the hand there, and you can take one of the provided web lines, which are done in this beautiful frosting. Look absolutely gorgeous. You can get some focus. And they just peg right into that hole there. Now, if we can get some focus going on here. Whoops. Focus. There we go. They just peg right in like that, but the fit is very tight. So I suggest maybe you want to heat it up a bit first. Otherwise, you might risk snapping your web line. And since I've got the one web line in my hand, we get two of these nice long web lines, although they seem to be slightly different frosting. If we can get some focus. There we go. Or not. And we also get these two triple web lines shooting out. There we go. Back to the hands, we get his wall crawling hands. Oh, there we go. Some very nice wall crawling hands. And the shape to the fingers is absolutely fantastic. These have got to be some of the best wall crawling hands I've ever seen. We get some splayed out action hands, which could also pose double as wall crawling hands if you really wanted to, I suppose. And we get these other, they're not fists, they're not web holding hands, because there's no hole in them to hold anything, but there is a gap between the finger and the thumb, if you can see that, and that's to hold the newspaper that he comes with. Now, the one downside, I will say, is the newspaper is part of the instruction booklet. So if you want to have your newspaper for your Spider-Man, you're going to have to chop up your instruction booklet, which is not all that cool to me. And, or I guess you could photocopy it, but then the quality would be absolutely terrible because it's done up on this kind of grayish colored paper. You'll see here in the instruction booklet, it has this gargoyle, bear head, eagle head, something, a lion head statue, which does not come with the version I have. I have the so-called overseas version. I guess it's like a standard and deluxe. Anyway, back onto accessories. We get this gloved hand holding a coffee cup, which is very nice. And we get 2 web shooting hands. Now, unfortunately, Sentinel decided to put the web shot into the hand itself. It goes, you can see it goes in to the palm of the hand. And as far as I can tell, it is glued in there. I can't get it to come out, and I don't really want to force it and break it. And it's a little unfortunate because it means you can't have Spidey doing thwip hands without having the web line coming out. And maybe, you don't want him to have this short little web on every single pose with a thwip hand. And also, since we're going to swap the hand out anyway, it's very easy to swap. You just pull off these nice long pegs and slide right back on. Wrong side. It looks nice from some angles because you can see it looks kind of like he's coming out of his web shooter. But if you want him to have that nice, downward bend to his wrist, well, now he's just shooting his web at the ground, or he's got to have his arm bent very high up to have the web shooting straight forward. So that's a bit of an unfortunate choice on the part of Sentinel. But, not the end of the world, can live with it. We also get an alternate Spidey head with big, big eyes. See the difference there? We get 2 Peter B. Parker heads. And again, an unfortunate choice on Sentinel's part. They seem to have decided that we can't just have a regular unmasked Peter head. We have to have this gaping mouth look and side eye going on, or the monkey imitation face with side eye going on, which is unfortunate because for the blonde Peter, we actually get a pretty nice little looking straight ahead face with a nice little smirk going on. And it looks like the hair is pretty similar. Actually, it looks like the hair is the exact same mold. And they could have easily just, given us one of these with the darker hair and 3 o'clock shadow for normal Peter. So if you want to have a normal Peter B. Parker, well, you're going to be stuck with him giving the side eye and making a weird face, which is unfortunate. He also comes with these itty-bitty glasses, which are just made of a very thin plastic, and you can see it's very, very soft and flexible, so I would suggest you take extreme care with these. And they just slide onto the face, like so. And you can hook them onto the ears, but it's a very tenuous fit, so I would suggest you be incredibly careful with these, or you might end up losing them. Or even worse, they might end up snapping. So, those are the accessories. Oh, that's right. We also get the stand. And this seems to be the same kind of base that came with the fighting armor figures. You get these clear plastic tracks in the bottom. You just pop it out. And then there's a clip on the bottom, if we can get it to show. There's a clip. You can kind of see it there. Clip on the bottom that slides off. You pop the arm in, slide the clip back in, and then you can slide this arm around on the track as long as you don't get the clip stuck by the pegs that are on the bottom. If we can get that to show. There we go. There we go. You can see there are some pegs, and this clip on here will get jammed up. It's supposed to be able to slide back and forth, but it'll be limited, like I say, by those pegs at the bottom, which is kind of an odd design for the base. I'm not a huge fan of this base design. There are even, you can see here, there are even holes around here that seem like it should be able to peg in. Oh, there we go. We can just take it off the clip and peg it into one of those, I suppose. Although it is an incredibly tight fit. Again, it would have been nice if it just went right into the middle here. But what can you do? It is what it is. And it's got a wonderful clip on it that will just clip onto Spidey, like so. The clip is okay, not the best, not the worst, but getting it posed and holding in the right angle could be a bit of a frustration. So let's move on to Articulation. All right, now articulation is one area where this Spider-Man truly does shine. For the head, we can look way, way up. Oh, the head will pop off the ball joint very easily, so take a little bit of caution. But we can also look way, way down. We get wonderful crunch forward and wonderful crunch back. We get, it's a ball joint at the chest, so lots of range of motion. As we saw when we changed the torso, ball joint at the bottom, loads of range of motion. The shoulders are on a similar kind of ball bar inside the chest, so we get plenty of range of motion for the shoulders. He can do a pretty good cross, reach across his chest. But when you start moving the shoulder in certain angles, you'll see that ball, because the cut is absolutely huge to allow for that beautiful range of motion. So once you start getting the arm out, you can see that ball. It's a bit unsightly, but it's not the end of the world. We get a wonderful bicep swivel, double jointed elbow that goes absolutely all the way, and the usual wrist and the usual ball and swivel wrists that let you do anything you want. The legs, as we saw, are on ball joints. There is a thigh swivel built into that ball. So we get a wonderful thigh swivel. We can kick pretty far forward and pretty far back, because as you push the leg back, it sort of swivels along on that ball to work around the hip, the waist groin area, which also, because it's floating, it will get out of the way. We get a wonderful double jointed knee that again goes all the way. No boot cut, which isn't a huge deal for me. Forward, back on the foot. Wonderful ankle rocker. And a toe joint. So absolutely tons of articulation on this Spider-Man. And I don't know if you can see it, but the web lining is done in this wonderful, absolutely beautiful, shiny, blackish gold paint. There's definitely a gold tint to it, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Sentinel have done a wonderful job on painting this figure, and he looks fantastic. My go-to comic book Spider-Man is the Mafex, but it's seriously being challenged by this Spidey here. And speaking of comic book, here we go with some size comparisons. So here he is next to the 20th anniversary Marvel Legends Captain America from Hasbro. Another absolutely beautiful figure with one fatal flaw on that shield. And then here he is next to a Mezco Batman. So I think he fits in with the current 6-inch line of figures pretty well. Like, if you're looking for a really good comic book Spider-Man to put in your collection, and you don't mind paying the extra money for it, because this is not a particularly cheap figure, especially for the size. But yeah, as I say, if you're looking for a good comic book Spider-Man, and this one catches your fancy, well, hey, there you go. It's a fantastic figure. Got a few quibbles, but nothing terrible. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll catch you later.